Thank you for watching Scary Animal Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we release new episodes. Welcome back to Scary Animal Attacks. Sorry I've been out for the last several weeks on a personal hiatus. Today's attack brings us to the warm, humid Gulf Coast of South Texas. Very near the U.S.-Mexico border is a town called Corpus Christi, and specifically, our episode takes place in the comfortable houses along Lake Corpus Christi just about 30 miles north of town. Although there is a ridge of land to the west of the city reaching around 300 feet in elevation, the city itself sits on a flat coastal plain only a few feet above or at sea level. The port of the city is a central hub of international commerce and one of the first deep-sea ports along the U.S. southern coast. Agriculture and recreation are a few thriving industries here, and the town has a storied history dating back to the mid-1800s. Common wild plants in the area range from Mexican olive and Bluewood Condalia to saffron plum and Texas mountain laurel. Common animals of the area include javelina, whitetailed deer, coyotes, foxes, possums, coons, and armadillos. Small critters include squirrels and mice, the latter of which is part of a food web involving the animal involved in our episode today, the highly venomous western diamondback rattlesnake. There's an interesting relationship with a population of vermin like mice and rabbits and the presence of the predators that feed on them, like rattlesnakes. As with most predator-prey relationships, you'll find the predators nearby where you'll find the prey, and rattlesnakes are no different. Along the port of Corpus Christi, there's many an opportunity for a small and speedy rodent to find food, and where they find food, they procreate. The ports with bins full of grain, as well as the farms surrounding the city, are excellent breeding grounds for mice, so it makes sense that predatory birds and rattlesnakes would feel right at home in those same areas. On May 27, 2018, Jeremy Sutcliffe and his wife Jennifer were out in their backyard doing some gardening and yard work. Jennifer was working along the garden edge when she saw something move in the shadows beneath the leaf cover. It wasn't often that they ran into animals in their garden, but this particular movement was something she was already on the watch for. It was obviously something low to the ground and small enough to be hidden beneath the small plants in her garden. As she moved the plants to get a better look, the form of a 4-foot-long western diamondback rattlesnake came into focus. She shrank back from the snake as it startled her and immediately screamed for Jeremy to help. Jeremy was only a few feet away and was there in a flash. He wasn't going to let a snake frighten his wife, and after discovering it was a rattlesnake, decided to do the manly thing and defend his wife from harm. They had garden implements at the ready, so Jeremy took a shovel in hand and jockeyed for the best angle to end the threat of such a venomous visitor. The blow from his shovel was quick and deadly, as the blade severed the snake's head about 5 inches from the rest of its body. The body of the snake twisted and writhed as it fought the pain of the blow from the shovel. The head portion could only flop around, as it was limited in its movements, being much shorter than the other portion. As the snake twitched out its last resistance to death, Jeremy knew he'd better get rid of the corpse and try to put everything back in order for his wife. She was in a low level of hysterics at this point, and the only way he knew to calm her down was to get rid of the cause of the commotion and fright. He immediately grabbed the body portion of the snake and mused at how it twitched and twisted as he picked it up, even several minutes after the blow from the shovel. Right about now, we should review an important fact about snakes that Jeremy may not have known. In the science of biology, snakes are reptiles, which are ectotherms. To contrast the point, endotherms are animals like mammals and birds. The word endo means internal, and therm means heat in ancient Latin. As ectotherms, snakes require an external heat source, as you may surmise, with ecto meaning from the outside. Given that snakes rely on an outside heat source for the majority of their warmth, they have a lower oxygen demand in their systems by design. This allows them to hold their breath longer and to live longer while their heads are cut off. As Jeremy dumped the snake's body into the bin, the head and neck of the reptile continued to wiggle and move while laying in the dirt. Jeremy quickly turned from the bin and walked back toward the remaining portion of the snake. The final step of restoring order in the garden area of his property would be as simple as him bending over and picking up the head of the snake with his hands and dropping it into the bin. As Jeremy bent over, the snake, apparently still clinging to life, may have been able to see him. His hand reached toward the head and clasped it not on the head portion, but by the distant end of the neck. Some may attribute this reaction to a reflex of the nerves, but it is clear that the snake turned the remaining portion of its neck and opened its mouth as if it would perform a defensive bite. The snake sank its 4 to 6 inch long fangs into his first 2 fingers on his hand. Most defensive bites don't inject much venom, if any. This bite, however, injected as much venom as the snake held. Jeremy instantly jerked his hand back, sending the snake's head flying. The venom coursed through his tissues, and he quickly began feeling the symptoms of its effects. The tissues immediately surrounding the bite location exhibited searing pain. This was his first sign that the bite was not merely a warning bite, but a serious injection of very toxic and damaging venom. Within the first few minutes, Jeremy began to experience severe swelling of the fingers and nearby hand. The throbbing of the area, due to the swelling, was excruciating and debilitating. The venom of a rattlesnake is a mixture of hemotoxins and neurotoxins, meaning that the venom affects blood cells and the circulatory system, as well as the nervous system of the body. It literally kills your blood cells and tissues and damages or kills your nerves as well. The damage is not limited to the local area of the bite, but can be dispersed broadly across your body. A bite in the hand can affect any portion of your body secondarily, as the blood moves the venom through the body as it circulates. As with most people who experience a rattlesnake bite, Jeremy was immediately gripped in seizures, and his vision faded as pain racked his body. Jennifer feverishly tried to help him and applied bandages to stop the bleeding in his hand, but immediately called for professional help from medical experts by dialing 911. She loaded Jeremy into their car and sped toward the nearest hospital. First responders intercepted them while they were en route, as Jeremy was seizing and began showing symptoms of internal bleeding. The hemotoxins and neurotoxins in the rattlesnake's venom had begun melting his nerves and blood cells down into a sludge that seeped through his blood vessels, causing hemorrhaging. Healthcare professionals placed him in a bed and began administering heavy doses of antivenom to counteract the damage being done to Jeremy's body. Most people suffering from a bite from a rattlesnake will receive somewhere between 2 and 4 doses of the antivenom before symptoms are manageable. Jeremy received 26. Now, it's bad enough to have to experience the effects of a heavy dose of rattlesnake venom, but the antivenom also has its own possible side effects when given in this high dosage. The symptoms for receiving too much antivenom actually resemble the symptoms of envenomation, as they include acute allergic reaction, known as anaphylaxis, a dangerously slow heart rate, or an altered state of consciousness. The first 24 hours of treatment, doctors informed Jennifer that Jeremy might not make it through the night. Although Jeremy received emergency medical treatment well within the 4-hour window for optimal results with antivenom, his kidneys and the nerves of his abdomen sustained significant damage. Due to the amount of blood and tissue damage in his body, his kidneys shut down. Jeremy underwent kidney dialysis to remove toxins built up in them. There wasn't much the doctors working on Jeremy could do to gauge nor counteract the damage that was being done to his nervous system. The toxins coursing through his vessels were quickly destroying the nerves that controlled parts of his digestive system. After several days in the hospital, Jeremy still had his life and his hand, but he was left with a condition called megacolon. It is a dilation of the colon due to the nerves charged with the contraction of it being damaged or dead. He also suffers from nerve damage over various parts of his body, and it isn't yet known if that will go away. During his medical treatment, doctors tried to use a hyperbaric chamber to save his fingers. They also tried skin grafts to help his fingers heal, but every treatment they tried failed. Jeremy's first 2 fingers were amputated to prevent the spread of necrosis, or tissue rot, in his hand. Jeremy was eventually stabilized, though now down 2 fingers. His kidney function remained weak for a long while after the attack. Jeremy eventually made a recovery from the tragedy that occurred in the family garden. As for Jennifer, she is still mentally scarred from the stress and terror of the event. She explains that every time she sees a small pile of leaves or sticks under a plant, she's filled with fear. Anytime she sees a small animal like a frog suddenly jump from cover, her mind races back to the rattlesnake and the bite her husband endured. Each year there are between 6,000 and 8,000 people in the United States bitten by venomous snakes. Around 10 people die each year from snakebite, so most have a good chance of recovering. That is, unless they received a full dose of venom like Jeremy did. Thank you for watching Scary Animal Attacks. If you like this video, please consider hitting that like button and clicking on the bell icon to keep you notified of our latest video releases. Sharing our video links on your social media might help save a life and spread the fun. As a member of our human network, be careful out there because you don't want to end up on an episode of Scary Animal Attacks.